Hello, welcome back to the It's on your Saturday evening. So, a few months ago, we regularly every month did CANSIPS Saturday, where we had a look at the next 6 months, just for fun, with the long-range CANSIPS model at the website troubledtidbits.com. A few months ago, I decided to rest that because we do CFS 6 months look ahead, and I thought doing two sort of 6 month look ahead videos in 1 month was a bit over the top, really a bit silly. So I decided to rest it, but I never said that I wouldn't bring it back at some point. And for the next 3 months, so for this month, for November, and for December, we are bringing back CANSIPS Saturday. So as well as the regular and every month CFS 6 months look ahead, we're also, just for the next 3 months, this month, next month, and December, going to have CANSIPS Saturday, where we're going to go 6 months ahead with the long-range Canadian models, just as we're heading towards winter, and I know there's a lot of extra interest out there. So that's what we're going to do for today's second video, and I'll get on for you in a second. Before I go on with that, though, just to say that earlier on today, we did the weekend forecast. You can find the video tag here on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a little bit and it's above the bottom account. And also there's the written version. You can get to that from the buttons at the top of the page. So without further ado, let's get on with this month's CANSIPS Saturday. And we're going to go from November through to April with this update. So we're beginning here with November 2017. And this is the mean sea level pressure anomaly. We'll deal with the mean sea level pressure anomalies first, and then we'll have a look at the corresponding temperature and precipitation anomalies that go with those pressures. So this is how the model is looking for November 2017, and we find that we've got blue colours over and to the south of the UK, and then we've got red colours in the middle part of the Atlantic. So we've got a mid-Atlantic ridge here, which means we're doing something a little bit like that. The flow and the jet stream. It looks like there is probably going to be a bit of a southerly tracking jet, and I would have thought as well a trough of low pressure within the 500 millibar flow. So essentially that does look unsettled as we starting off in November. Does look unsettled and probably quite cool as well, because I would have thought we are on the cool side of the jet stream. In fact, there might even be a little bit of early wintry potential in with that as well in November. Move through to December, and this is how CANSIPS is seeing the first month of the winter of 2017-2018. And this one is looking unsettled. So I've got these blue colours over and to the west of the UK, which brings a jet stream through the country like that. So I would have thought that's probably quite a wettish month in December, and it does also look quite unsettled as well. Not as cool potential with that as we have with November, because the trough is more to the west of us as opposed to the south of us. So with that, it's probably quite unsettled and not overly cool, probably fairly mild. And then it turns even more unsettling to January. Look at this. This is a very, very unsettled signal for January. Deep low pressure to the north and through the UK. We have got a ridge down here, but it's quite a long way from us. And a very strong jet stream looks as though it's pushing across the Atlantic as well. So that looks very unsettled in January. A stormy start, perhaps, to 2018. And probably very wet too. There is a little bit of wintry potential in with that, I think, because it looks like the flow probably going to be going on a northwest-southeast trajectory, so at times we might bring in some cooler snaps, but I think overall that is just a very unsettled, potentially stormy sort of signal for January from the CANSIPS model. We go through to February, and what's happening now is that heights are rising in the Atlantic. So I'm going to change the colour again. What we get in February is this strong ridge here through the central part of the Atlantic. Deep low pressure to the north of us, and also, if we change colour again, due to the intensity of the colour up here across Scandinavia. Looks like probably doing something a bit like that flow and jet stream. So I think that is a milder month in February. It could be quite a mild month. And a lot drier as well, not as stormy, a lot drier because the ridge is much further north, so a dryish signal there for February. And then into March, so what's happening in March? Good, now we're going to 5 months away, so it is very, very unreliable, this. We are into the unreliable time frame of the model. Low pressure up to the north, high pressure to the south. It's just a classic westerly looking signal for March. Probably near normal with precipitation, and I would have thought reasonably mild again. And then go through to April. As far as we're going to go, we could, if we wanted to, go to September 2018. But I'm not going to go any further than April, 6 months away. And this one has an area of high pressure in the Atlantic. Low pressure is up to the northeast. And I think there's something a bit like that flow and with the jet stream. So there is a little bit of cooler potential, potentially, with these pressure anomalies for November. But other than that, not much to go at, I don't think, for anybody who wants cold, wintry weather. Let's have a look at the temperature anomalies that go with those mean sea level pressure anomalies. And we start again in November. So this is how CANSIPS is seeing things in November, and basically it's just average with the temperature. So it is a cooler month. I mean, on these long range models, it's very, very difficult to get them to go for colder than average months. So when you see average temperature anomalies, actually for these long range models, these season models, climate models if you like, an average month is quite a cool month really for these models. So I think it is going for a cooler sort of situation in November, and there could be a little bit of wintry potential in there as well. But we go through to December, and now we're going milder than average. Just say British Isles in the top right hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it on these charts. That's where we usually are on those long range models, perched in the top sort of right hand corner. So in December we have temperature anomalies looking milder than average, and then that continues into January as well, although actually January is slightly closer to average, only a little bit milder than average. So we have average temperatures for November, milder than average for December, a little bit milder than average for January, but January looks like it could be a slightly cooler month as well. And that continues actually, and perhaps interestingly, I wasn't expecting it, into February also. So January and February, yes, they are a little bit milder than average, but not greatly so. And then into March, so 5 months away, so just for fun really. March is coming out slightly milder than average again, and that continues into April also. No month is looking exceptionally mild here. The mildest is probably December, when I think we're going up to around a degree above average. So December is the mildest of all of this. November is the coolest, coming out at average, and all the other months are just a little bit, no more than around maybe half a degree above average. And then finally, we're going to go through to the precipitation anomaly. So again, we come back to November. Now, this is quite interesting because we have got an area of below average heights to our south, but the model is actually going for a slightly drier than average month, particularly to the north and the west, with near normal precipitation elsewhere. Notice that Spain and Portugal and the Bay of Biscay coming out wetter than average. So clearly the trough is being centred to our south. So I think what's happening here in November, we've got trough to the south, we've got ridging up here, and this is doing something like that with the jet stream and with the flow. So this does have wintry potential. It could pull down some northerly and northeasterly influences in November, and in November that will be, we are late enough into the season that to hold some wintry potential. Now we go through to December, and this is our mildest month, remember. It's also a wetter than average signal in December. So quite clearly the jet stream is pushing back northwards again, and we are starting to re-establish a more typical zonal flow. So December is coming out milder and wetter than average. Then January comes out substantially and quite significantly wetter than average, above average precipitation going on in January too. Into February, it turns significantly drier in February. So we get a wet couple of months of it in December and January. December is around a degree milder than average. January is much closer to average, but still a little bit above average. And then we get a dry month coming along in February. That's as the ridge is pushing northwards through the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And then through to March. So March is coming out, perhaps a little bit surprisingly, wetter than average in the north and the west in particular. And then we get through to April, 6 months away just for fun. April is a bit wetter than average in the north, a bit drier than average in the south, presumably just a straightforward zonal flow becoming established then. So, I mean, November does have a little bit of wintry potential here, I think. That's probably the most interesting month out of all of this from a cooler perspective. And that's quite interesting because it's only a month away, of course. So, hopefully, if everything's working correctly, that should be most reliable of all of this. I think there is a little bit of wintry potential there for November. The way the trough and the ridge are aligned, with the trough centering to our south, I think that could pull in some northerly, northeasterly winds. After that, it is a little bit of a write-off, I have to say. It does look very wet through December and January, potentially stormy, and we might pull down some colder air, particularly in January at times, from a northwest-southy trajectory to the jet stream, but there is no blocking signal, and blocking is the route to proper cold. It's the route to Arctic cold. There's no blocking in the being signalled in the northern latitudes here, no high latitude blocking. So any colder conditions that do occur in December, January, they would just be in the form of cold snaps, really, and then very quickly the next area of low pressure would roll in and cut off any northerly influences. And then get through to February, quite a change to February, it's looking significantly drier. And then beyond that, we're into the spring months, months 5 and 6, we won't worry too much about that. Remember, this really is just for fun. It's a snapshot of what the CANSIPS model is showing. And by the way, if you want to see CANSIPS for yourself, you can do so very easily by going to the links page, and then it's tropicaltidbits.com. Have a look at CANSIPS model for yourself from Gavsworthy's links page. A big thank you to Tropical Tidbits, as always, for allowing us to use their website and use their charts as well. So that's it, CANSIPS Saturday. We'll be doing the CFS 6 months look ahead. It will either be next week, next Saturday, or more likely the week after. I think next Saturday might be a little bit too early to have all the charts updating at the CFS website, but it'll be in the next week or two on Saturday evening, same time, same place, at Gav's Weathervids. Okay, that's all for now. And just to say that tomorrow we are going to have the 5th Winter 2017-2018 update. And that one, as well as looking at solar activity and all the other things looking at Siberian snow cover, it'll be a little bit of a QBO special. So if you want to know about the easterly QBO and what it could mean for the coming winter, then check out the 5th Winter 2017-18 update tomorrow. And also tomorrow, of course, we've got our second written update for Christmas. So quite an interesting day coming up at the website tomorrow. That's all for now. Thanks for watching on your Saturday evening. You can get back to Strictly and X Factor now. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.